Hello, everybody, and good morning. Okay, I hope I can be heard. Hello, everyone, and good morning. You can see that I woke up and I am live and I'm smiling because I am talking to the number one shoe collector, the number one shoemaker in Nigeria. See, in the yard we have the who is who. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This morning you're going to be listening to Olufunmi, and she's the founder of the Shoe Collector. If you see me when I like shoes, I'm Kuku, the ambassador of that brand. So if you see me wear shoes, that is the woman that is in charge of my shoe collection. I don't joke. All right, they talk about shoe collection. This is the woman. That's it. So all those coach, where did you get your shoe? Aha, that's it. All right. So you go and look for her on Instagram. Yeah. All right. So, but today, Fumi is going to be sharing with us her journey in the inner circle. I met Fumi for the first time when I went to you this year. Oh, it was an amazing time. And I want to say thank you again. If you
You're
are here
welcome.
and you're watching, put fire emojis for this woman. In fact, she shut down her business for all the days I was in you. And she was literally at my beck and call. Like, I'm not joking. Like, I just need to snap a finger and Fumi is there. You know? I don't even need to call. She's there when I don't want her to be there. You know that kind of
Abby,
thing. I'm telling you. And so I want to say thank you again and thank
you're
you
welcome.
for all that you do. So you talk about the comfortable shoe brand. Yes, we have the shoe collector in the yard. And today she's gonna be sharing her journey. The interesting thing is, as much as I know for me, I really do not know a lot. I just know, sketches of her journey. Yeah, that's have a lot of insight, a lot of story, a lot of. Sometimes you hear some things, you're like, I thought I sat with this person one time, and she never mentioned this thing. What's happening? So we're going to be hearing all of that today. So Fumi, tell me, how did you land yourself in the inner circle at all? Over to you.
Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you, Coach Wendy, my transformational coach. That's what I call you now because of what I have now become just by meeting you. I was lucky to have, growing up, I didn't have things were not done right, but I was just conscious that I wanted to be more. So for anybody that I see that is going towards the right direction, I have a way of, just tagging along. And so I was lucky to have somebody in my life called Onyinye Stephen Go.
Mm.
She was like our neighbor and my husband's friend. In fact, I will never forget her in my life. And one day she just told me that we were not very, very close, but she was present in our lives because as at then I was still working in the bank. She's the one that picks up my son, drops him in school, and pick up my son and bring him home. So we're like family friends. She just told me that for me, you need to join TIP. I like, what is he said? Intentional parenting group that you will learn a lot of things. I'm like, okay, is there anything like that? Parenting, are we meant to go and learn parenting? I thought this was an inborn skill that you just know once you just give birth like this, God will just give you that gift. She was like, no, that there's actually a lot to learn. And I also noticed that our children were exceptional, while me, that had just one child, was still struggling with my son, you know. And then I was opportune to attend one of your webinar, and that was when you were talking about healing from um, parenting hot.
Oh,
Yeah, so a lot of people said sharing their story, and I'm like, this is me. It just brought back memories. As at that time I was dealing with a lot of things. I was a shadow of myself. I didn't believe in myself. I was suicidal. I didn't send my husband. I was just somebody that I was working. I was working in the bank. I was earning well, but I wasn't fulfilled.
mm.
So when I heard all people sharing their stories, I reached out to you and then I told you what I was going through at that moment. If you see me, coach, as at that time, Even Onyinye, I'm sure she will be shocked that that kind of thing was happening to me. I looked okay. But I was carrying a lot of burden within me. If I tell you when you see me, you think, this girl has it all put together. In the bank, then I was with the most dressed banker. When you see me, I'm always on point. If our customers come and tell me, we always look forward to seeing you every morning. But inside that fine packaging, there was a broken woman within. A lot of things were not going on. I didn't even know how to treat my son. I was like, this one is a burden to me, right? And then you told me to go for that class. So I paid for TIP. I went for the class. And oh boy, the class broke me down into pieces. It made me go back to that inner child that I kept hidden, and I felt I was doing okay. I went back and I started remembering who I really was before I was shut down. My my growing up was chaotic. My dad left us when I was 2, and my mom left when I was 4. So me and my siblings were scattered throughout. Each family member picked one person to take care of. And I was raised by my aunt, So I started living with my aunt at the age of 4. But I remembered it was this healing from parenting hurt childhood trauma that made me remember what happened the first day I entered my auntie's house. I entered my auntie's house and I saw a curtain. Then she used to work in the bank. And I said, auntie, this curtain, I think it needs to be changed. That is not really good. And she looked at me and like, this small child of 4, she's already noticing things, I noticed then that I was also very expressive. I asked questions. When I got to her house, I was asking, what is this? What can we do with this? But after a while, I stopped talking, because for every time I say something, I was shut down. Every time I tried to share my opinion about something, I was shut down. So it was a taboo for me to have an opinion. And so I grew up with like someone that could not speak. Even when I was working in the bank, I knew I was brilliant child. I was a left-handed child when I got to my auntie, but I was beaten to stupor to stop using my left. So for every time I need to use my left to do anything, I remember one day, one of my older aunts came and I was using my left hand to turn food. She removed her heels and threw it at me. And she was like, why are you using that useless hand in the kitchen? So they gradually tried to make me start using my right hand. I was able to start using my right hand in some things, but the only thing that I could still not, in writing, I was able to write with my right hand, but every other thing, I still struggled. So that was how I grew up. So I knew that I was a smart child. But sometimes when I enter a room and people are giving their ideas, I will not talk. I will just keep quiet. I was always at the background. I was not bold. I was not just doing well. At that time too, I was doing this shoe business, but I wasn't talking about it. So I enter a room and when my shoe, people are telling me they like my shoe, I'll just tell them thank you. And after this particular webinar, this particular course, my life changed. It was as if something that was holding my mouth just broke loose. I changed. Everything changed. That was 2020 during COVID. It was that time I started seeing that this place I'm working in is not where I belong. I'd been working for 9 years. 2020 was my 9th year. 2021 was my 10th year. I just started to see that I'm more than this. I can actually be more. It was that thing that made me see that I could actually come out to be whoever I want to be. Just one course that I took. And then I joined the inner circle. I felt that I was coming, as at that time, my son was struggling with his academics. My son is a kinesthetic learner. He was always jumping up and down. He could not sit down. So for every time he jumps, his bass goes. That's why can't you be still? Why you always jumping? Why you this? Why you that? And then because growing up, they always shout at me, I was also a yelling parent. So there were a lot of things that were wrong about me. My son, he doesn't listen when I speak in low tones. He only listens when I shout, because that was how I started from age. As at that time, I think my son is 8 now. It was 3. So no, it was 4. So there were just things that were not going right. My son was also struggling with his academic as at that time. I think that was what Onyinye saw and said, join this family and you will learn. And then I joined and things began to change. Immediately I felt this boldness that had been hidden for a long time. And it was that same year I told myself, by 2021, once I'm 10 years in the bank, I'm leaving. So I started planning towards my exit. I knew, joining gave me, this, I became grounded. I had
Hmm.
structures in place.
Hmm.
I did not struggle again. I already knew what to do with my son, as then I had just only him. Even my business, the structure I learned to teach my son, I was also putting it in my business. I
Hmm.
already put things in place in terms of how my succession plan. So if I leave now, how am I going to survive in the next 1 year without having a job? All those
Hmm.
things were just coming up because of the ideas I was gaining from TIP. And then as I left the bank, my business transformed. So that was how I joined TIP. I think I've overshared.
Wow. Wow, no, you have not. That was in fact, that was a distinct for me because, very many times I worked in the bank, so I understand what Fumi is sharing. Where you're that popping stuff, where everybody just looks at you and the banker that, dresses well, everybody just thinks, oh, your life is perfect. You're already, you're doing well. And nobody can really understand what happens inside of the clothes until you are able to find it yourself. So the finding, right? The finding is you. You are the one that is able to touch it and find it. Yesterday, the Yada who was sharing about her journey shared how
Yeah.
her business exponented. In fact, some things she told me are not fit for details. I can't share. All right. But it just blows your mind how you're coming to deal with your parenting, but you're actually dealing with yourself.
Yes.
And in dealing with yourself, it just transforms every area, every other area of your life. And shout out to Onyinye Stephen Go. Onyinye Stephen Go is a senior yada. All right. One of those people who
Hello, coach.
so sorry. So
Okay.
sorry about that. Right?
Yeah.
Onyinye Stephen Go was one of those people that when you get into when you meet her children, you will find your way to the inner circle. As in,
Yeah.
she's a yada in the yard. It's not yada, but the whole of Uyo was pulled by Onyinye Stephen Go. I can
Yeah.
tell you for free. The Ogunsholas joined because the Ogunsholas were the proprietor of her school, of the children's school. That's how they got into the inner circle. That's how the whole school, the parents, got into
Yeah.
the inner circle. That's how people in Uyo got into the inner circle. That's how I also met Fumi. And Onyesibigo is a blessing, a true
Lesson.
one.
Yeah.
A true blessing to us, especially in the inner circle. She's been in the inner circle now for this will be her 40th year. And I remember that the first time I met Onyinye's son in Abuja, he walked up to me and he said to me, I can see that you're Coach Wendy. Are you? I was like, okay. I said, no, this must be yeah, that's one. And then this guy staged me. That guy was not more than 8, 9,
Yes.
thereabout.
9. Yeah.
This guy, David, staged me. And I spoke with this boy for how many minutes? My mouth was open, literally. I went to my called Onye. I said, Onye, who did that? That guy's confidence can give you a Mercedes G class. I mean, he can walk into a car shop and pick up the.
Yes.
That's how confident, with so much honor. No, it's honor. No, so well put together. I was like, wow. When they said, ma, that's inner circle child now, And this is how you are able to pick out her children from the crowd.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
You can't miss it. All right. And that's what happens when you find that thing. When you find it, it just translates to everything. So if you're just joining us, we have 89 people watching. Hit that like button. Shout hello to the number one shoemaker in Nigeria. Yes, and Fumi is sharing her intentional parenting journey. I won't fail to tell you that if you see any nice shoes on my leg, it is from the shoe collector. And yes, that's how I pop. My popping like this year does help me pop. Oh, forget. Get me to pop at every angle. And then when you now see your coach, you're like, that's my Daboski coach. Yes, I have like that who tried to help me to pepe, right? All
Yes.
right. Thank you so much. And Fumi is sharing her journey. She has shared how she got into the inner circle. She shared how while she was just, all there trying to get herself together, she didn't even know. She knew something was wrong, but she couldn't place it. And she just, and I'm sure those days when you want to say something is wrong, I'm sure you will feel people will think that there's something wrong with you. All
With you.
right.
Yeah.
So and you didn't want to actually share it. Your customers are in the comments, man. You you didn't even want to, really, say it. And saying it even meant that you're going to be hitting something. People will be like, with all this good life that you have, you're
They are
still complaining.
ungrateful.
It now
Yeah.
sounds like you're ungrateful.
Yes. Yes.
But you alone knew what it was that was
Yes.
chasing. Okay.
Yes.
All righty. Thank you so much. So let us begin to go. She has shared how, transformation in her own personal life and how she eventually left the bank. And that's how you now see an entrepreneur par excellence that you see today. All right. Who is now talking to us. Tell us a bit about how the inner circle touched your marriage, touched your parenting, and then your business. Over to you,
Hmm.
ma'am.
Okay. So when I came to you, I told you that I didn't like my husband. Because when I was growing up, my aunt's husband used to beat me so much. That wire that mechanics use. That's
Wow.
what he used to beat me. So I hated men. In fact, throughout my university days, men were the least of my problem. I used to be a tomboy. In fact, then I used to act like a tomboy. That was how my shoes journey started. So when I came out, I said, okay, I need to start acting like a lady. And the only thing
Mm,
that could correct how I walk was heels. So the heels would now make me slow down and then walk well. So I didn't like men. And then when it was time for me to marry, I just married because I felt okay, it's time, right? And then when I got married, that connection between my husband wasn't there. I had grown up to be an independent and very strong-willed child. So I grew up doing a lot of things myself. I'm that child that at as early as 7 years old, I would go and play in church. Our church was in Antoni. Anybody in Lagos would know. Antoni, our house was a Mautu. I would go and play, and then when they come and they don't meet me by the car, they leave me and go. So at 7, I will go and beg strangers money for transport
wow.
and then find my way home. So I grew up to be that independent child that felt I could do without anybody. You know, I can actually survive on my own. And that was how I ran my life, even getting a job. When I finished school, they told me, come and do this. I said, no, this is what I want to do. So I left the house and eventually got the bank job. So when I got married to my husband, I couldn't honor my husband. So I was doing my things, and he kept saying, you do not respect me. But me, I felt I can, yes, it was. I would just, I would just wake up and take a decision, and then I might not even tell him. He might not get to find out later. I was that woman who felt that I can survive by myself, I can do anything by myself, and I did it. So there were a lot of friction in my home. In fact, every year, every end of December, I remember then we always fight to the point where he will say, I can just walk away, and I would tell him, if you walk away, I'll be fine. I can actually survive on my own. I would take care of my son, and I'll be fine. That was the way we were. But when you see us outside, we were that lovey-dovey couple. Nobody knew, but me and him, we knew what we were struggling. He was just always complaining. That was the only thing he always complained about. You do not respect me. So when I joined the inner circle, the teachings I got from the inner circle now made me see that true, what this man had been saying is actually true. That this is not what they call marriage, because then, I told you I did not love him, I did not send him, I was just doing, he was doing his thing, I was doing my thing. So it was when I got to the inner circle, I started learning how to respect him. I started learning to carry him along. After that healing journey, I started seeing that the people, what they did for me in my childhood is not the cause. In fact, I used to say that I'm lucky that I got married to the man I married today. Because you see, apart from TIP, if you say who is part of my success journey, is solely my husband. From the birth of my business, once I just tell him this is the idea I have, he will just go ahead. I remember before I started shoe business, I was selling clothes for children. I just told him that I want to do business. That you're a businessman. He's an Igbo guy and he likes business. I said, me too, I want to do business. And he said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to start selling children's clothes. Before I close my eyes and open, my husband has brought truckload of clothes to sell. I was like, calm down now. I just said I wanted to do business. You have done this. Is that somebody that is fully in support of whatever I do? It was the one that made me started to see myself and believe in myself a little. Like, he would tell me, Fumi, you are smart. Fumi, you can do it. Fumi, you can do this. Fumi, you can do that. Sometimes when I come back from work and I tell him something, he say, you can do this. Go back and do this. He was always pushing me. But still, I did not like him. I did not love him. So inner circle made me to now learn how to honor my husband, how to respect my husband. I remember when we joined inner circle, coach, the way coach reverences her husband, it was something I admired, but it was something I was not doing. How you call your husband governor and you are always talking about, then I didn't talk about my husband. Even with all the things he was doing, I did not even see it. I just felt it was his duty, But coming to inner circle made me now see that this man is a gift. God gave me this gift. In fact, when I met my husband, I was about saying, okay, I don't think I want to have anything to do with men. And that was how God brought my husband my way, to change that thought I had about myself. So after I joined the inner circle, he started to see that they are changing, and then he's always hearing me listen to anything Coach Wendy. My husband knows Coach Wendy because everything. So when he tells me something and I don't do it, or for some reason I now do it, he now say, hey, because your Coach Wendy has told you that that's the right thing to do, Abi, that's why you're doing it. So I started to respect him, I started to honor him, I started to carry him along. And then my son that was struggling as at that time, that was when I now knew the kind of person I was raising. I didn't know that my son was a kinesthetic learner. I was just thinking that he had too much energy in him, and the only way I can kill that energy was to beat him. That was when I started to know that my son was actually somebody I can make to be anything. And then that was when we now joined Brainy Heights. And that my son that was struggling with his education is now the star of the moment. All of a sudden, my son will go for competition, he will come out tops. My son will go for maths competition. There was a time my son came out tops in the whole of grade 3. This was the same person that we were struggling with, that I was saying, he doesn't listen, he doesn't sit down, he cannot pay attention. All the things I learned in CIP now made me to put structures in place, teach him the things that he needs to know, teach him skills. And all of a sudden, that son that was always jumping around is now somebody that I can just say, Somto, this is what I want to eat this morning. Can you go and cook it? And he will go cook it and bring. Inner circle has really transformed things. Now, after that, I gave birth to my daughter, and my daughter I was lucky to have my daughter during that journey. Every time my daughter enters the class, they're calling me and saying, you are a blessed parent. Your daughter is so smart. Your daughter wants to do everything by herself. She takes control. She takes charge. Kike is this. Kike is smart. Kike can read. When others were still struggling, how do you do it? I say it's TIPO. If I did not join TIP, I would not know all these things. When they are talking about this all child are talking about cartoon, my children are talking about the books they've read, and they're like, well, in fact, at some point the teachers will tell me, ma, please bring book for us so that Kike can read for others. So that one is my children. A whole transformation, that when you see my children, when they speak, the kind of boldness they have, they can express themselves, they can stand up for themselves. I don't have to be there. I don't have to be teaching them what to say. There was a time I went to the hospital with my son, and the doctor was asking me questions. I said, ask him. He said, no, you're the mother. I said, no, he knows what is wrong with him. He can answer your question. The man was shocked. Was looking at me like I was a parent that I didn't know what I was doing. But then he asked the questions, and my son answered, this is what is wrong with me. This is what I've been feeling. And the man looked at me. I was like, now, wow, that is what CIP had made happen to me. I'm not under pressure. I can even travel and say, okay, my children will be fine. Before I'm always like, I cannot go anywhere. These children, who will take care of them? But Inner Circle has made me see that I can actually live my life, right? And my children can be fine. I'm not tied to them and saying, they cannot survive without me. If I die today, Inner Circle taught me, where before we used to be scared of death. Now I'm not scared of death. I'm just putting things in place to make sure that if I pass on tomorrow, these children can live on their own. That is what Inner Circle has done for me. Now, going to my business, which is, that's why I keep saying, you see, Inner Circle, I'm a student for life. Even if there's no class again, there's no level again, I'll keep repeating another level. Because Inner Circle has taught me the power of community. Trust me that sometimes you feel overwhelmed, that you will not even know what to do. But when you hear the success story of other people, you will pick the ball again and start. And I always say that to see a difference, you don't have to do the 100. In fact, the kind of information Inner Circle gives us is so much that you just need to do 20% and you start to see results, right? So Inner Circle has made me see the power of community. I told you I'm somebody that I feel I can do things on my own. And then we attended a webinar that we had to wear our humility agbada, where coach told us that if you don't have friends, it's childhood trauma. I now knew that, so this my childhood trauma has not left me, because I used to say, I don't need friends. I can do well on my own. I can survive on my own. I have my children, I have my husband, But after that class, I now started to drop the friends I knew were not good for me and my children. I started to pick up people that I know I can learn from. And guess what? It has helped me grow. It has helped my business grow. It has transformed my life. Now, coming to my business. In 2020, I used to say that in 2020, I was somebody that was selling shoe. I did not even see myself as a global brand. But after Inner Circle, anywhere I go to, I'll tell you, I sell the most comfortable shoes in the world. And
that's right.
I say it with so much confidence and pride. This was something I did not have before joining Inner Circle. So what now happened to my business? Because I was confident of myself, I was confident of my business. People started to see the value I had to offer. I remember when I started selling my shoes, then I couldn't even put price. When they price me, I'll say just bring money, because I did not even know my worth. I just wanted to say, okay, let me just be sure that I made a sale. But after I joined Inner Circle, I went back to the drawing board. And then I told myself, these customers that are wearing my shoe, they buy and come back. Why are they coming back? If the shoes are not good, if the shoes are not comfortable, why are they coming back? It's because they see the value. The truth is, when people come back for what you offer, it's not because they love you or you are their best friend. It's because you give value. And they have seen that what you are doing is giving a positive impact in their lives. I say I make the most comfortable shoes, and women all over the world have seen that these shoes, when I wear them, I can walk around. I don't have to stress myself. It's not that I wear a shoe 10 minutes, I've removed it because of discomfort. After Inner Circle, I started to talk more about my business. I started to sell my value proposition harder. I was confident. When people say, your shoes are too expensive, I'm not always saying, okay, bring money, because I knew the value I was giving. And immediately my business blew. From Akwa Ibom, I'm sending shoes to customers all over the world. How did that happen? Because I started to believe myself. In a month, sometimes we are overwhelmed with production that everybody is calling us. Yeah, where are my shoes? Where are my shoes? Another thing Inner Circle has done for me is emotional intelligence. If you work with women, you will know that you need the highest level of emotional intelligence. And I work with women. A lot of women, when they want their shoes, they want it now. They already have something planned for it. And before then, when somebody is on my neck, I'm like, what's the problem? Say, please bring your account. Let me refund your money. What is it? But Inner Circle has taught me emotional intelligence. I've been able to bond with my customers. I've been able to learn how to interact with them. And guess what? These customers now are the one carrying my business on my head because of what emotional intelligence has helped me achieve. I've learned how to interact with people. I've learned how to even teach my children how to go out in the world and be confident and be able to express themselves. So there's a lot of things I have learned from it. In fact, my life has turned 360. I was somebody that was barely making nothing to now somebody that is making over 8 figures just from selling shoes. Like when everybody is shouting business is not going well, when sometimes I don't even want to share my numbers because people are like, are you for real? From this your corner, you're not in Lagos, you're not in Abuja, you are doing this much. How? These are the transformation that has happened just by joining Inner Circle. So yes, I'm grateful that I met Onyinye that introduced me to TIP, and that I took the call. I started that journey because now, if you hear the shoe collector, everybody's talking about the shoe collector. The shoe collector was not anybody 3 years ago. I was just there. And I always say that sometimes to become the woman you are, you need to go through some level of healing, because your light is still buried. And until you go through that healing, nobody will see the light. Nobody will see your potential. So that is what Inner Circle has done for me. There's a whole lot. My family, now me and my husband, we are running a business where I'm pulling my weight is pulling his weight. Different business ideas are coming everywhere. We sit down, we dissect. Our business is going everywhere. People see me and ask me, how many business do you do? Apart from the shoes, when I post my husband other businesses, they're like, how many business do you want to do? This is what has happened. We are bonded. There's a synergy. We are building an empire, a financial empire, just because I've learned how to connect more with him. So yes, Inner Circle has transformed me a whole lot.
Amazing, amazing. It's so easy to see people from the top and not see them from the ground because you do not know what has happened at the ground, right? It was, I literally watched the shoe collector blow up, right? Like right in my face. In fact, I saw her IG, page like go like from 0 to 1 million, and I'm like, okay. Like, okay. And somebody sent me a chat and said, "Oh, your shoes are from the shoe collector. Oh my goodness, she's a luxury brand." I say, "Oh yeah, yeah, you're right." And you just have this, you just have this confidence that just grows. It's not, I tell people that when you're a confident parent, even your children will know that you're a confident parent. The way you actually put a lot of these things in place, changes everything. Antietima is here. When I talked about David Stephen Go, it was Antietima's camp that he came all the way to Abuja. Those boys traveled alone, arrived at Antietima's camp, and I was just looking at them. Inner circle parents have stories that will inspire you, stories that will, when you listen to their story, even me, as I'm listening to some of the stories, yesterday when I finished, I told Miss David, I said, what did you say happened to your business? Which part of it? In fact, she had a good laugh, like, Coach, you don't even understand. Like, my business, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, where have I been? Like, why didn't I know all of this in a while? And look at Fumi here sharing with us today about her transformation with her husband. I remember when she told me this thing that you are saying. Many times when you say something, some others will come to the back and tell me, this thing you are saying, Coach, I don't understand it. Oh. Is it this man that you're talking about? I beg. It's not like that. Or they tell me things like, your own case is different, Coach. It's because your case is different. And anytime I hear those things, I'm always like, don't worry, calm down. We're all coming from a lot. We're all coming from a lot. All of us are, coming from a lot. All of us, have a story where we need to build on, So, and this is for me now talking about. And if you don't think in your marriage, you will find out that you struggle in every other thing.
Yeah.
You struggle with your business, you struggle with your children, you
Financially.
struggle. There's a level of intimacy. It's in the conclave that we learn about intimacy. There's a level of intimacy that you need to build to actually be able to build a successful home. I'm not talking about a home. All of us are building home, but I mean a successful home, the one that people can look at and say, "Wow, what's happening here?" All right. So there's a level of intimacy you must attend, and if you do not go on a healing journey, you will not be able to attend that intimacy. That's one of the things that our upbringing robbed us of.
Yes.
Intimacy. So every time people talk about, oh, but we turned out well. Oh, but I remember the first day I said, if you do not have friends, trauma is playing out. Somebody said, it's not like that, man. It's a lie. It's not trauma. Some of us just do not like, interacting with people. We just like, I say it's trauma. Your trauma has taken over. That thing you're saying, there will be a lot of fight. I can already see when year one coming, there's always a lot of fight. You finish your weapon and somebody say, Coach, it's not like that. You don't know what has happened to me. My parents suffered because they had friends. Oh, they trusted people. People wanted to kill them. Jones, you don't know where we are coming from. I understand. I've heard it all. I don't even think there's anything that we're going to actually hear that will be new. I've heard people, you heard from me here now. She came and said, I don't like my husband. I don't love this man. So this thing that you're saying, I don't like it. I've heard it all. I've heard there's nothing. So if you're coming in and you're wondering, are you sure that they will have solution for my own problem? Be coming. The solution for your problem is inside. All right. There is nothing that you won't find. All right. And that's if you are able to actually walk through this journey intentionally. And she also spoke about her children. So I remember when I said, you don't need a lesson teacher to have your children
Yes.
go through. In fact, Fumi was one of the people that ran with it. And she said, Coach, I am now having a son who does maths like a guru. One of the things that we pride and brag about in the inner circle is raising maths guru. It is a mandate. I struggle with mathematics. And I know that is something that nobody can. It's now that I'm getting to understand numbers. The other day I was with a mentee in my office, and I was saying, "Can I see your numbers?" Person was like, your math calculation is good, your this thing is good, your blah 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 is good. I had a good laugh. I was like, it's not me. Oh. As in, I learned it. I struggled with math. Now I have a good grasp of numbers. I have, because I understood. I didn't have a foundation for mathematics. I didn't have the foundation. All we were taught was that pass it. Yeah? So if your child is just, you are hiring lesson teacher, your child is making A, your child is not learning maths. I've said it over and again. There's a base. There's a base that you learn math from. There's a base. And if you miss that base, which is what happened, did I fail? No. I made a C in maths. And for an A student, that would be bad, right? But I made a C. There are people who made B and it was still okay. I made a C in maths. And I made was it a C4? What do they call those things? C4, all right? But it was a lot of struggle for me. But I didn't have a good grasp of what maths should do for me. Maths is relatable. I started to learn.
Yeah.
Maths is relatable. It's an everyday process. Everything we do in life is mathematics. And when I understood it, boom, and that's how everything just changed. And that's how I keep saying that I will raise math gurus. It's not even I just knew that mathematics was going to be the list of the things that my children struggle with. And it is like that today. No lesson teacher, no jumpy. If you understand the rudiments, and I remember when I shared that, for me, there are people that run with it. If you run with the message, you have results.
Exactly.
And she kept sharing with me how her son, maths number one, this one. I was like, okay, this thing is real. And so when I share concepts, I love that it's replicable. It's not just about me. All right. And I see Dr. Mrs. Ogushola in the building. Thank you so much, ma'am. Dr. Mrs. Ogushola is the founder of Brainy High Schools. Brainy High Schools is our inner circle school in New York. If you are in New York,
the
best
school.
in New York. If you are in New York, you are not there, you are wrong. You are wrong. Alrighty. So we are listening to Fumi share her journey, how she moved from being the banker, where she was, and she said something that was very intriguing. I was making money in the bank, I was being paid, but I was not fulfilled. So even though she thought she was making money, now she's doing business. She's not just making money, she's not impacting us with our legs, being comfortable inside shoe. So it's one thing to make money, it's another thing for that process to impact lives. All right? It's that thing for that process to impact lives. And that's a key aspect of actually living fulfillment.
Yeah.
And fulfillment is a core aspect of everything that we must, do. And I'm so excited that I'm part of those customers that keep up. In fact, Fumi cannot even send my shoes. Let me report her to you people. Fumi is owing me.
Coach,
So
you are coming.
go
Coach.
and meet her IG and tell her that coach said, where is her shoe?
I am sorry. I am.
That's how busy our company has become. In fact, you will order shoe and you will wait. And we are happy waiting. All of us, we are very happy waiting.
Coach, let me share another success story. So, it's still on my business. I had, for over 6 years now, I've been selling just the production team and then my home. So I sell from home. And then for the first time this year, I said, let me go for a trade fair. I went to a trade fair to a state where I don't have a lot of my customers there. I went to Port Harcourt. I know where my customers are. My customers are in Abuja, Lagos, and outside the country. So I went to Port Harcourt. And, when I got in, my neighbor was saying, he said, the way you were bringing your goods so confidently, like you already knew you were going to sell. I brought a lot of shoes. because I just felt that people cannot see my shoe and not sell. That is part
Mm,
of the confidence that
mm,
if I keep saying that before your business can transform, you need to have so much confidence in yourself and what
yeah.
you offer that nothing will shake you. You know, when people
Mm,
were saying, don't bring, I said, I'm going to sell. And the lady, when in the evening, after customers left, because I had a lot of customers. In fact, I could not handle the number of crowd that came in. So when after the close of business for that first day, she said, now I understand where you were bringing in boxes, truckload of boxes, because you were so confident that you were going to sell, and then immediately customers stepped in. I kept saying, welcome to the shoe collectors world, home of comfortable shoes. We sell the most comfortable shoes in the world. Customers will look at me and be like, who is this one? And then they pick the shoe, they wear the shoe, they're like, it's true. Imagine if I was not bold enough to sell my market. So,
mm,
like, success is solely dependent on you. You
yeah.
might be selling the best products in the world, but if
Yeah.
you're not confident, nobody will know. In fact,
Mm-mm.
they will just feel that you're just a regular person. And that's what I've learned from you. When you hear coach, there's no how you will listen to coach and you will not want to listen. There's no how you will meet her. Her level of confidence is out of this world. You will be intrigued. You'll be like, okay, let me even hear this person. Let me even hear what she has to say. And then when you now hear her, you now say, this is information overload. This woman has it. And is what has rubbed off on me. Like, I've learned so much from you that I see how you carry yourself. I see how you go about preaching the parenting gospel, and I transformed it into my business. I
Mm,
preach the comfortable shoe gospel, and everybody is saying, "Okay, this girl that is always talking about this, let us even try the shoe first and see if it's true." And then they try it, and they're like, "Wow!" And then they're coming back to buy 5, 10. You see, I've been able to make my customers see my value, that some customers have over 70, 80 pairs of my shoes. Is
true.
because I've been able to confidently sell my shoes.
Mm,
Customers now, that there's a competition of how many shoes you have from me. They're like, I have the highest number of shoes. They will now send me picture of their wardrobe and they say, the shoe collector, see all your shoes. That is what inner circle has made of me, right?
mm,
So being in inner circle, you would think you're coming to come and learn what to do for your children, but you are
mm,
you you are coming for a life transformation.
mm.
Everything will be touched. Your life, your finances, your family, even the friends you make. Before
Yeah.
I joined inner circle, I was not particular about the kind of friends that I make. I just
Mm,
make. But then I started to see that some of these friends, their children were rubbing off negatively on my children. And then something happened recently. There was one of my friends I had to let go of. And then one of these days, my son came and said, Mommy, I've noticed that you don't talk about so person. Is it because you are not learning anything from our children? I was shocked
wow.
that my son could see that. I didn't tell him anything about it. I just
Wow.
quietly left the relationship. But he came and asked me, he said, is it because we are not learning anything from our children? I was so that was a teachable moment for me. That was when I now started to teach them how to make friends. Now my children know the people that they should hang around with, because I made the conscious effort of letting go of people that were not adding value to my life.
Yeah.
Parenting is modeling. You need to
Yeah.
you need to show so that your children can see and then run with it. And
Mm,
that made me see that, okay, this is something I have done, that my son can now go out and say, no, this is not the right relationship for me. This is the kind
mm,
of person I want around me. Like,
mm.
it just made, after our discussion, I went back and said, oh, this is truly working. Sometimes you are so overwhelmed and you're like, you are not seeing results. But if you
Yeah.
really sit down, there's some tangible results that you're not taking note of. And that's
Mm,
what, on Sunday, my son cooked a big pot of jollof rice
mm.
for the family. And it was a proud moment for me. My 8-year-old son, he just turned 8. It was a proud moment for me. Like, after we ate in the afternoon, I went back into my room and I shed tears. And when I shared it with my husband's family, they were like, Somto yo, Somto is really going places. So very soon, Somto will be our chef. Like, I'm like, this is somebody that could not sit down. It's somebody that is always jumping. My son is hyperactive, but he sat down, cooked a pot of jollof rice, and then laid the table, and they came to call me. I was in my room. They came to call me, Mommy, family lunch is ready. These
Wow.
are the steps, little by little, little by little. I must honestly, I've not done 100% of what I've learned from Inner Circle. But guess what? The little I've done has transformed my life. Imagine if I now run and do 100%. Ha. so, so, so,
Crazy.
I met people that tell me, they're overwhelmed. And I said, that's because, I don't know, maybe you're in competition with somebody. Just do the little you can do, and then watch to see the progress. You will be
That's it.
shocked. You'll be amazed at the kind of things your children will sit down and tell you. We will be going out. Yesterday, I wanted to take my kids out, and then all of them had their books in their distance. And I'm like, why are you taking your book? Say, but mommy, we need to be reading before whatever we are doing gets ready. Now my children are now teaching me, what I've taught them. These are things that you will start to see if you are intentional about this journey. Take it one step at a time. Sometimes when you miss something and you remember that I need to learn about this thing, go back, search. What do you need to learn about this thing? Go back and rewatch. Learning is a daily thing, is a gradual thing. And let me also tell you what Inner Circle has helped me do. When I was growing up too, I used to love to read books. I used to love novels, but my auntie did not like it. She only wanted me to know math and English. So for every book I borrow from school and bring back home, she would seize it. In fact, at some point, we had 2 Ghana must go load of books, story books that she had seized because she didn't want me to read story book. So then I will put math book here and I'll put story book inside. So once she passes and she sees it, she's good. That's how much I love to read. But she killed that spirit within me. So for the longest of time, I could not read. When I joined the Inner Circle, you cannot join the Inner Circle and not read. Are you joking? So Inner Circle started making me to read. And then my reading improved. Guess what? Now I'm reading about things to do in my business. So I'm coming up with ideas. Even in my local environment, I'm touching the world because of how far I've been able to broaden my mind through reading. That is what Inner Circle has made me do. It has opened my mind that after reading anything about parenting, I'm reading about business, I'm reading about this, I'm reading about that. I'm asking myself, this is my shoe business. It's a global brand. It's an international brand. What can I do to make sure that people see it as an international brand? This is what reading has made. It has made me see things. Now I buy books. I invest in books before buying. When they give me bill for book, I'm like, it's too much. Now it's not a problem. Now I'm not. Once my children dress well, like smartly, they don't have to wear the best of clothes, but let them read the best of books. Let them go out and be able to talk to anybody, even an adult. When you engage my son, the kind of things my son knows, even me, I'm still learning from him. He will tell me, Mommy, no, so yeah, this was what happened. So I was like, where did you read that from? He said, the book you bought from me.
Wow.
Those are the things that has happened in my life, in my children's life, in my family, in my relationship, in my marriage, in my friends. Now I have friends that I have carefully selected and they're impacting positively in my business because I joined the Inner Circle. You taught us how. Then I've not even talked about honor. Honor had made me see, you came to Uyo and you were saying I was practically available. It was what you taught us. You taught us how to honor people. And the best thing I could have done for you was just to be available. I might not have all the money in the world, but my presence was something I thought I could give. This was what you taught me. Honor. And you see what honor has done for me? It has opened doors. The kind of people I've met, the kind of relationship I've built is because I've learned to honor people. When I see that this person has a gift that I don't have, I bring myself down and learn from the person. And it has transformed everything about me. So you see a global brand. It did not start from there. It starts from the things that the structures are put in place, the things I've learned little by little. I'll do this, do this, and all of them is coming out to something that is taking me to the next level.
Amazing. Amazing. In fact, somebody said result everywhere. As in, you will think that you have finished hearing it. And then you will now see one thing. Fumi has a lot of, I say, yeah, that's have insight. She said, and I caught it. My children do not need to wear the best of clothes, but they need to read the best of books. And you cannot be in the inner circle and you're talking about book, yeah. When people say, are we going to read? I see new yadas, incoming yadas. They'll say this, coach, is it compulsory to read? I say, what are you talking about? Like, are you joking? Are you joking? The reading process is for you. It's not for me. People say, must we buy the book? I don't understand. Are you buying the book for me? Is the book not going to sit in your shelf? Is it my book? Like, and these are things that will transform you. Unfortunately, we're coming from a place where we lost a lot of that, right? Reading for learning and not to pass exams. There are a lot of us who made first class, 2-1, whatever, and we've not read nothing. And we're not also growing, all right? They say that in 5 years, you're going to remain the same apart from the books you've read, the
Yeah.
people you've met.
Yeah.
These two things are a big determining factor to who you become. Let us go quickly to the webinars. In fact, off on the top of my head, I already know the webinars that Fumi is going to call as our best webinars, but I'll allow her to do that. All right. What would be your top 3 webinars and why would that be?
Coach, the first most important webinar for me was when you taught us how to write our mission, our vision, our tag, because I had a business that had mission and vision, but I did not know that I need mission and vision for my home. That webinar transformed my life because it made me see that if I don't put these things in place, what are my children going to run with? I already knew that this is what I wanted for my business, but I didn't know what I wanted for my children. Yes, I wanted good kids. I wanted, but I didn't know how to go about it. So after that webinar, I went back and we sat down together. We created our vision. We created our tagline. We created our media plan. Now I don't struggle to say, this is what we should watch. My children know what to watch at every point in time. They don't I'm not out of the house and I'm hiding a remote anywhere. You already know the time they are meant to watch, what they are meant to watch, the things they are meant to. Everybody knows what to do at every point in time. So these are the things that have helped me put structures in place. Another of my webinar was when you taught us about friendship. That one really, in fact, it brought me down to the very low because I was like, how we coach, we say we must make friends. I can do without friends, but that webinar made me see that, wow. And yes, I'm someone that once I learn something, I run with it, especially because I've been seeing results. So that webinar made me make decisions about the kind of friendship I had, the people that I had to let go, the people I need to bring on board. In fact, I'm someone that wants to tell me something, I'm doing it right there and now. That immediately after that webinar, there was a particular lady that I'd been admiring for a very long time. She was somebody that I saw her children were very smart, very intelligent. They knew a lot of things. And I'd always wanted my children to be around her children. But because she was much older, I was like, But immediately after that webinar, I called her. We spoke. Guess what? She's somebody that has also been admiring me. And she was just looking for the right moment when we'd connect. So that webinar has made me now learn how to make friends, bring my circuit, because you cannot make all the money alone in this world. In fact, they say even the Bible say one we chase how many thousand? Then 10,000.
Yeah.
So that is what that webinar has made me see. It made me see that I need to be intentional about I can't say I don't need friends. That was what I used to say. But after attending that webinar, I started to now know that this friendship thing is something I need to now build. You know, when you talked about how your friends, how you people help yourself, you know, financially, how you guys sit down and you ask yourself, what's the next what's the next thing to do? How is this? What's the next? Because you need to have people that can challenge you. You know how you feel that you are making all the money in the world, and then you have friends that are making more, and they're telling you, yes, you can do it. This is what you need to put in place to be able to do it. That's what that has helped me. In fact, there's a lot of things webinar that I keep watching and then learning from it. Is it emotional intelligence? You know, that has also helped me grounded, helped me relate with people, teach my children,
Oh,
talk to my husband. Is it honor as a skill? A lot of things I have learned that if I begin to count like this, we will not go home. Every time I watch, I implement. Because sometimes I might forget. So once I learn anything, I write it. I say, okay, this is what I want to do today. I implement. I remembered where you talked about us not needing lesson teachers. Immediately, I fired the lesson teachers that were teaching my children. I took up, I took up the responsibility, and it was that 1 year that my son became won the maths competition. You know, so all these things, as I learn, I implement. As I learn, I implement. Hello, coach.
all right, can I be here? Thank you so much
Yes.
for me for sharing that, on the webinars. If you leave here, guys, they're going to read 10 webinars for you. I said I met them, the audio callers, and they were sharing me 20 webinars, what they've learned from this. I was like, calm down, calm down. It's three. I did not ask for 20. And and that's the transformation. I want to quickly go to the books that have transformed you the most. Top
Mm,
three, and then we begin to go. But there was something that Fumi, shared that I want to buttress on having a media plan in your home. One of those days, a family friend's child was in the house, and my son, brought out, they were allowed to play the PS5. And then while they were trying to, play the game and all of that, the boy suggested, let's go online. The house is Coco cable now. So, hey, let's go online and just play. It's not a big deal. We just connect to Wi-Fi. It's already connected. Let's just connect and just go and play online game. My son looked at him and said, I'm not allowed to do that. He said, is it that you're not allowed? Nobody will know. He said, so he now said, the problem is not just about me not being allowed to do that. It is that I might get myself into trouble. He said, with your parents? He said, no. I said, with myself. The boy looked at her, how do you mean? He said, because I might see something that I'm going to keep going back to go and watch. For instance, pornography. And I know that if I say it, then it means that I'm going to get drawn to watching pornography every time. I will go back, I will now start stealing to go and watch it. I said, I will rather not try. Moreover, anytime that we want to go online, our parents must be there because we need a guide to actually be able to navigate online. And the boy was like, this guy, I play online in my house. It's not, nobody knows that, nobody needs to know. It's not anything. My son said, well, that's your home, but in our home, this is how it works. And then the boy left, and then he now came back to me, when he left and said, mommy, do you know that there's also person suggested that we go online? No. He now said, I have been able to surmount the, how did he call it? The tests of time. And my son always had names for different kinds of things. I've been able to surmount the test of time. I'm like, which one is test of time? Because he said, mommy, do you know what it means to be tempted? And you are there by your peers. And you're there saying, no, I know who I am. I know what I need to do. I just looked at this one, I just started laughing. And that's how much he understood that he wasn't doing it for his parents. He understood that he wasn't doing it that he was doing it personally for himself. And for me, that was a goal. So our son has different kind of words on how to say things, how to replicate. He's a sanguine, so he makes fun out of everything. All right. And then, while we were having that conversation, and he even suggested, he said, Mommy, call the parents of this person, oh, let them keep watch. Because the day he will see pornography, he himself, he won't even know that that's the day he's going to stumble on it.
Hmm.
And for me, that was like a reiteration of where we were coming from. You know, being able to have media plan in place, being able to. I've never used parental control in my life. I don't know what that is. I've never used passwords, you know. I don't know what that is. I always believed that the best parental control, the best password will be for me to build a media plan and get my children to understand why it's in place. Does it mean that parental control is bad? No, it's not that it's bad. But I have found something that will give me an advantage, a higher
Yeah.
advantage, that honors the process more than just getting my children to just obey rules. Rules are to be broken. So it means that if they break it, then they might find themselves in trouble. Principles are to be lived. It means that when you imbibe it, it becomes part of your life. They are two different things. So when you are hampering on rules, you find out that at some point, all of us find where we want to break rules, you know, at some point, and all of that. And I've seen also my children, you know, try to scaffold rules. But when you build principles, principles are part of your life. They are to be imbibed, they are to be lived. You find out that you are living them. All right. So let us, you know, jottle down to the books, all right, that you have learned you've read in the inner circle.
So, we have read a lot of books, but the most important book, the first most important book was learn moving from no. The first book is Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro.
Oh
You
wow.
know, that book taught me how to know the level of knowledge for each
Mm,
child. You
mm,
know, and I was not scared of now saying I want to teach my children about sex.
mm,
I was coming from a place where the word sex was a taboo. It's not even meant to be mentioned. But you see, reading that book made me see that this is the information I need to give my children at every level. And, because I've been able to teach them what they need to know at every level, they can confidently tell off anything that they feel is not meant to be done. My
mm,
my daughter can tell you, don't touch this particular part of my body because it's my private part. Imagine if I did not read that book and I did not teach her what she's meant to know. My son too has a level of understanding about sex. So we are not hiding that. We are not saying pee. We are not saying this. We call the names of everybody's private part. Everybody knows what they need to know at every point in time. Another book I've learned, I also learn is parenting from yelling to calm.
getting to come.
Yeah. I told you that I was raised with shouting. So normally I'm a yeller. I remember when you asked us for the bar, my bar was the highest. But but reading that book made me see that I don't actually need to yell to put things in place. You know, everything now, my children already know the consequences of their action. And instead of making noise, when they err, we discuss the consequences. They already know what is going to happen if they do this. So
Mm,
parenting from yelling to calm has made me see that it's not everything. You don't need to shout. I can't even remember the last time I shouted. The only time I shout is maybe when they're in harm's way. That's the only time we yell. Yelling to calm has helped me see that if I give them the rules and regulation and the consequences ahead, they already
mm,
know what to do. So we don't need to
yeah.
shout about everything, right?
Mm,
Once they do this, they're the one that would now tell you, Mommy, I know that this is my consequence. Okay, I'm
mm,
going to run with the consequence and do better next time. So that has helped me to now remain calm. I don't need to yell. And guess what?
mm,
That particular book also has made me, even when I was working in the bank, I was a yeller. Even when I'm
mm,
talking to my colleagues, even when I'm talking to my husband, imagine
mm,
learning yelling to calm for your children but you're now able to use that same method to talk to people around you.
mm,
Then when I met my husband would say, why are you shouting at me? I'm like, but I'm not shouting. That's the way my voice is, right? But after reading that book, I've learned how to communicate, not
mm,
only with my children, but to people outside. When I was working in the bank, for 9 years, I worked in the bank. Before the 10th year, a lot of my colleagues didn't like me, because if I'm talking to my subordinates, I feel that it's only when I yell they get to do what they need to do, right? But parenting from that level has also made me see that even talking to people, I don't have to yell. I just need to state out my points as clearly as possible. It's not everything that I have to shout about. So funny how a book that was meant for my children has also helped me
mm,
to reduce my yelling. Now I
mm,
talk calmly, even with my customers. There's some customers you meet and you get to that point where, but it has helped me to learn how to talk calmly, state my points clearly. Another book that has also helped me is Bringing Up Boys. Ha!
mm,
Before I read that book, I used to compare my daughter with my son. I'm like,
mm.
why are you always like this? Why you always, you have to look at my daughter is someone that is very creative. She sit down, likes to draw. She's in charge of herself. She's in control. She can do
Yes.
things on her own. You don't need to monitor her. So for a very long time, I was always comparing my son with my daughter. So I'm like,
Mm,
look at Kike now. But after reading that book, I now saw that, in fact, if my son was not behaving the way he was behaving, then they have a problem
yeah.
with that I need to deal with. It made me see ways to train a boy child. I didn't know how to train a boy child. I just felt
Mm,
that just be like your sister, just be calm, just be cool, just be, you don't need to use all your strength. But for a guy, he needs he needs that strength, you know. So that those are the books that I know I cannot forget. That
mm,
I don't need to yell. I need to learn. I've learned how to train my boy different from the way I'm training my daughter. The things
mm,
I need to put in place for a boy child and a girl child. I've also learned from raising up girls too. I learned from that, but the most important one was that boy, because training my son was a big challenge for me. Am I saying
mm,
that he's 100% okay now? No, but because I know he's a boy, I know that this is what is expected of him, and this is how I will guide him to do the right thing. You know how you know that your son needs to be more skilled. When we were growing up, girls were the ones that we felt had to be skilled. Boys
mm,
can, they can do anything. But
mm,
when I read that book, I learned that if I want my son to be somebody in the future, to be that king I want to raise him to be, I need to teach him skills.
mm,
And you see that my son actually does a lot more in the house because of the things I've learned in that book. I've taught him a
mm,
lot of skills that helped him now to be in charge.
mm,
I can, you see, from that book, I've learned that teaching my skill is important, and that's what has made my son now every morning going to school. My son makes breakfast for himself and his sister. Imagine if I said it's a girl's place to be in the kitchen, and that my son does not need to be in the kitchen because he doesn't need that skill. But
mm,
reading that book has made me see that he even needs that skill more, because that's
mm,
what will control all the energy he has,
mm.
and put him at the right place at every point in time. So those are my
Nice.
three favorite books. There are a lot of books I've read, but those three books is what has stuck with me. It has helped me, in my life, in my children's life, and even in my business.
Amazing, amazing. Yes. And then if you're just joining us, you have to catch replay because this is the tail end of this conversation. Because somebody said, it's one of the others who is coming. Say, I need 2 hours to share my journey. I said, that's how everybody feels. Please, even me. Sometimes I'm listening. I say, just continue talking. Let's just be listening to you. Thank you so much, Fumi. Olufunmi Layo is the founder of the Shoe Collector, and she sells the most comfortable shoe in the world. I joined her to say it because I am that customer that is very loyal. We're not coming to come and we're loyal customer, very loyal. We're just here. This guy will die here kind of customers. Bring it on. All right. Don't bring it on. We're here. Thank you so much for
Coach,
joining me.
a
Yes,
lot of
ma'am.
yadas now are buying my shoe because of you.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's
you know,
are the real deal.
and when they come to my DM, usually when they come to my DM, when I go through messages later, because I'm not the one in DM, and the first thing they tell me is, I'm a fellow yada. It's
Correct.
it's a thing of joy when they come and they say, I'm a fellow yada, and then I see
Yes,
your shoes on Coach Wendy's, and I want to buy your shoes. I'm like, this is my ambassador. So thank
that's
you,
it.
Coach, for all you have done. You have not only transformed my parenting life, you have transformed my personal life, you have transformed my business. You made me
Mm.
come out of my shell and build a global brand. And now you are the one preaching my comfortable shoes gospel. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to know you and to be around you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for me. I really your journey inspires me every time. And it is even how I say her IG page alone. I said I just woke up one day and I saw that she had like 50 something thousand people following her. I said, what happened? What's
You,
happening here?
you
How
Coach,
did,
it is you. It is
how
you.
and the first time she told me, she said, Coach, you don't understand what has happened to me in the inner circle. I am so grateful that you are part of this process. I'm grateful that the impact journey is, part of your transformation. I'm grateful that this is not just about your parenting, it's about everything. So as we go, I want to share what would be the last words that you will tell people who are listening to you, who are wondering, what if I come now and my business does not transform? Should be there. Or who are wondering, this money, hey, how will I get it? How are you sure that this is worth it? Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, so for every I'm very big on personal development, and the, the money I spend on personal development, if I call it here, you'll be shocked. Um what you are charging is small compared to what I pay for other small things that is not as robust as what you give us here. And so what I always tell people is, when they tell you a fee, that fee divided by 365 days,
Hmm.
right? So 100,000 divided by 365 days. So for every day, how much are you paying for the knowledge you are getting in the academy? By the time you see it that way, you will now know that what you are getting is actually what's more than you are paying. Because when you see that money huge like that, it makes you feel, but divide that money, divide it. There's some things you even buy, snacks, that you comfortably in a day, comfortably bring out 5,000 naira to buy snacks, right? Now, for the knowledge you are going to gain from for in TIP, divide that 100,000 by 365 days. It helps you put things in perspective. You now get to see that, okay, this is how much, this is the chicken change I'm spending for this knowledge that I am getting. Trust me, the kind of things, coach, the knowledge that TIP has given us is what's more than TIP is charging. Because sometimes you will not be able to you will not be able to do everything. Before you are finishing one, another one is coming. And these are things that you can use. It's not something you will use today and you say is no longer valuable. These are things
Hmm.
you will use throughout your life. I said you're coming for parenting, but you are transforming your life. It might not even
Hmm.
be business. It might just be how you have so much confidence and you walk up to go and get that contract you never thought can ever belong to you. Is a whole lot more. It might just be you. Now I stand up and I like I said, I can speak in any room. Call me on any stage, I can speak. This wasn't me before. This was me that once I see the crowd, the fear that will grip me. But call me anywhere, I'm out there. So look at the value you get for the money you spend. So you're building yourself. You know that the kind of knowledge you get here, you can even build your own business from it. You can learn so much that you will now start to see the kind of things you can do effortlessly and start, selling from it. The last webinar we had, that governor came to teach us how to build financial empire. I don't know why I did not remember to talk about that one. You know,
Yes.
you know, you will see that, you will now see that money is actually something you need. We grew up from a place where we feel that to charge my worth is a crime.
Yeah.
But coming to inner circle, ideas will start coming to your head that you can make money from. So you are actually in a school where you pay less than is how much is $1 now? You pay less than $1 per day. But the knowledge you are going with will transform your life. It will transform your generation. It will transform your generation to come. So that's how we need to look at it. Don't look at that bulk money. Split it into daily this thing. So that's my word. If you're thinking of joining the inner circle, I would say now is the time to join, because after now, you have to wait until next year. You have to wait. You have to wait. You are not rushing to say, okay, is a do or die affair. It's a value-packed community where you will learn. So if you are thinking, should I join? Should I not join? I would say this is an investment for the future. So personal development should be part of something you should be doing. And this is one of the, it's called parenting, but to me, I say it's personal development. You will learn and learn, you will unlearn and relearn all those things that you feel that we turned out right. You start to see that no, we did not actually turn out right. So,
We're not.
so, so yes to joining TIP, because it's a place to be, and we have a community that would help you grow. You know how you see people doing well, you too, you want to do well now. And that's what TIP does for you. When you read success story, when you hear people's story, you too, you will be gingered to want to be better. You cannot live in isolation. TIP is a community that will just help you grow all around. You meet all kind of people. You meet the high, you meet the low, you meet people that are on the same level, and you will grow together. So yes to TIP. Thinking of joining, this is the right time to join, because a minute spent not doing the right thing can cost you a decade of trauma, a decade of regret that you will now spend more to correct. So yes to TIP, yes to Coach Wendy. You need to know Coach Wendy and to know that the kind of information she will give you for the money you're spending is way, way more than that.
Thank you so much to the sheet collector. And when we were here, of course, the governor appeared. You can see him on my screen, of course. And he was talking, he was the one that taught in level 2, building your family finance empire. That class, in fact, blew the mind of people in level 2. And that is one thing that Fumi touched, money. We don't like talking money. So you can say, why in fact, people even Google, why do you charge money for parenting? It should be something you just say and teach. No, you will pay money for the value you get. And we're very unapologetic about it. You will pay money for the. But the truth is, what you're paying, really, I like how Fumi broke it down. 275 naira per day. Some of us drink Coke every day. Some of us cannot do without Coke. Something that is killing you. Coke is killing you. On a daily basis, you have Coke. You're drinking it. Convert your Coke money. Convert that Coke money and not drink it for 1 year. That's all.
Yeah.
In fact, this math was just, that was just it.
Yeah.
Convert it and turn that Coke money, and boom, you actually have money for dinner. And like Fumi said, what you get, now that she's been saying it, I'm thinking, so it's only 275 naira you actually pay on a daily basis. But for all the work that I do, As she did the math, it dawned on me. Ah, better take advantage of this now. So that you don't come back next year telling you are not joining again. Well, moved. You're moved. Please join in now. I want to say thank you to Fumi, the shoe collector. And she doesn't just collect shoes. She actually gets you to collect them in your wardrobe. So she will collect them and collect it back to you. So you will collect it from her after she has collected it. Some yadas, I saw some yadas incoming here. They said they are coming to buy shoes from you. Omo, we're in trouble today. I hope you are ready for your DM. All right,
Yes, I'm
yes.
ready for them.
You can find for me on Instagram, the shoe collector. The shoe collector with a D. You find so that
Yes.
you find. You go to my story. You still see me with a popping green shoe I wore yesterday, and I still tag her. Omo, as brand ambassador consigned, we
Number
pop.
one.
We pop with the shoes everywhere. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining me,
coach.
and thank you for sharing your journey sincerely. I love you. I honor you. Thank you for being
Thank you,
here.
coach. You
Thank
know
you
I love
so
you
much
too.
for all you do. I know. Thank you so much. We're going to let Fumi go. Fumi is a business woman. I'm sure she wants to run. All right. And I'm also sure that every one of us would like to run. But most importantly, the thing is, look at my screen. Look at the things that you see. Pay 5,000. Begin to break it. Tell yourself, I'm not going to drink Coke anymore. I'm going to sow it in my life. And you see that your life becomes 1,000,000% better. All right. And that will be really, really, really amazing. All right. So we'll let Fumi go. Thank you, Fumi, for your time. All
Thank you,
right.
coach.
And you have
Bye.
bye. Alrighty. And if you're watching me from anywhere in the world, all right, I have just hosted the founder of the Shoe Collector, number one shoe brand in Nigeria, shoe going all over the world. And she is an inner circle parent. She has just shared how that global brand you see today has been a product of being a yada. So if you're a yada, you pay. You being in the yard is like pay one, buy one. How do they say it? Pay for one and get 1,000,000 free, right? That's what happens to you in the inner circle. It grows your business. It grows your marriage. All right. When we were talking about in the conclave, the governor is here, all right, the Marriage Seal Academy, we were talking about it's yadas that build their everywhere. You when you get in, you see that oh, I need to build my marriage and my business needs to be built, and you see everything turning around, right? All over your life. And the beautiful thing, you will have me as your coach. Proudly so. See, I am called a messiah in the parenting industry in the world today. I do not need you to prophesy on my life. I know that I have been given a mandate. I am been given a mandate to rescue the parenting system that we have today. I've been given a mandate to script the mandate of parenting in today. I've given a mandate to be part of people who will make impact on the parenting journey. And trust me, when you follow someone who is called, it is not going to just be head knowledge. You're going to hear things that are not being said because God Himself has engineered the process that is going to actually transform your journey. There's something that I say to the inner circle parents, and I'm going to say here this morning. The curriculum for your transformation, when you key into the process of God, is not yours to create. God creates it, sending someone to you who would actually run the process. And if you're able to catch it, that is champion for you. And that is what the inner circle it's about. The inner circle is a mandate for our time. It wasn't something that I was thought of. You see people running inner circle now, they just, they woke up, copied and all of that. But this particular process was given. It is Pastor Wisdom Osiri, a very dear, pastor, all right, founder of the Wisdom House, that said, some things are taught, some things are caught. When what you do was caught. It wasn't taught. And that is just the answer. So if you're still thinking, oh, do I really need to be here? This is the mandate of the hour. There are dispensations, and if you are very, spiritually discerning, you will understand that people are called for dispensations. And I humbly and respectfully speaking, I have been called for a dispensation such as this. Get into the inner circle. Stop thinking about how much it is you're going to spend. Think about how much it is you're going to actually get. 100,000 in 1 year, 275,000, 275 naira, less than half a dollar today. Less than, it's not even up to how many percent of a dollar. All right. You get in there, you begin to find yourself. Hi, Coach Omolola, proud conclavite. Yes, we're all proud conclavite. All right. And Coach, you remember that? Yes, I remember it. All right. In the conclave, there are a lot of conversations that happen there. That's another conversation. I'm going to leave it. All right. You just get in and you find out that 275 naira a day is a joke. I'm not joking. For the work that we put in, for the value that you get. People don't remain in the inner circle because they love me. Trust me. Yeah, I know that the others love me. I know that the others honor me. But you know the truth. People are there for the value that the inner circle give. So nobody should come and tell me, oh, can you just discount? Oh, this 100,000, think about it. You are spending coke money every day and you are actually paying for your inner circle in your stomach. As an adult, you don't even need to eat plenty things. Trust me. In the past, how many weeks I've dieted on cucumber and whatever. Eliminate the food. If that is it, you can actually fast and put that thing together so that you can be in a place that don't just transform your mind, but also transforms your life, so that you can put into something into your head, so that you can. How much do we use to make nails? How much do we spend in the salon every month? You can't spend anything less than 20K if you're going to. And even for me that don't do wig, right? And that's still less than what it is that the inner circle is charging you. Think about it. So for those who are saying, are you sure this money, is it what it's 275 naira a day? Very good, very good, very good maths. All right, cheaper than the fuel a day, cheaper than dollar, cheaper than whatever it is. Think about it. All right, but most importantly, because I want your life transformed, I want your journey transformed. I want to be part of your impact story. I want to be part of your generational story. I want to be part of the process that God has called you to actually be able to deliver in your life. That's why I'm positioning myself to be that person, who will help you in the journey. And hey, if you miss getting into the inner circle, right, this year, you wait till next year. It's not because we don't want your money. As much as we want to make money, right, run an organization, we don't want to do it to the detriment of your transformation. No, that's not what we are called for. We are called to actually build the system that transforms. And transformation is at the peak, is at the head of what it is that we are doing. And if that is the case, then trust me, that's why we won't take you in the middle of the year. You wait for the next year. Not because we want to prove anything, right? It is just because you will not be transformed the way we want you to be transformed. All right? And just like Fumi said, save yourself the drama so that you don't give yourself more trauma. And hey, the governor is here. And get in today and save yourself the future plans. All right? And by the way, the Marriage Seal Academy, of course, you're dealing with your marriage. Go and get yourself into their academy and also deal with those processes. How you transform your life will be a determining factor to what happens even to your children. Remember, you are a curriculum. Your life is a curriculum to your children. The question will be, what will be the content of that curriculum? My name is Wendy Logi, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Parents Academy. It's been awesome hosting you this morning. I hope to see you again tomorrow. And tomorrow we're set and we're going to have, I think it's the sockets we're having tomorrow, I'm not sure, but I know that they're coming this week. You don't want to miss any of these processes. You don't want to miss being here. All right. Thank you so much for joining me again. And do have an amazing, amazing day. And I want to see you in the yard because I want to help you make the impact that you are called to make. Thank you and have a good day.